Hello, hi everybody. My name is Hope Meja and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for clicking on this specific video. This video is going to be a recap, a life update.
Happy New Year!
It's gonna be the best one. Just on the 31st, Seho and I went to Eden and we went to a restaurant and we're at the beach, so we watched the sunset, and then we waited until midnight for the crossover, which was nice. And that's how I crossed over into 2023. That was like, that was fun for me. I was like, big girl things, going out on the 31st is like big girl things. Anyway, so that was my January. I went to school, not the next day. The next day, I actually hung out with Tejo again. Did a boat ride, it was so fun. And then the next day, so the 3rd, I went to school. I went back to school. January, February. So I was just at school for most of January. February is my birthday month. If you're not aware, I'm a February babe. My birthday is the 20th of February, so February is always an exciting time for me. I was turning 19. If you're not aware, I'm 19. I'm gonna be 20. I was turning 19 in February of 2023, and I was super excited to turn 19. On the day of my birthday, I went and bought myself flowers, and that was it. That's all I did on my birthday, and that's all I remember from February, if I'm being perfectly honest. Then March came around. I forgot to add in that in March, I think it was beginning of March, end of February, my best friend and I of like 10 years actually stopped being friends. We had like a very civil breakup, and it was kind of like a memorable part of my year. So I figured I'd just mention that. It was kind of sad, but life goes on. We grow and we outgrow people. That was a little part of my year as well. March was just school and not much to do. At the end of March, I started talking to this one person, this one guy. If ever you need a reason as to why you shouldn't trust particular men, I won't say all men, but why you shouldn't trust particular men, read this message that I've posted in the corner. It's cute, right? It seems nice. No, it's not nice, because a week later, this man was in a relationship. So don't trust men. Matter of fact, leave men alone. Trust God, okay? That's it. I started talking to this one guy who I DM'd via Instagram. I know girls shouldn't be DMing guys, okay? Those days are over, okay? I have repented. I'll never do that again. I learned my lesson. I'm never doing that again. But I started talking to this one guy end of March. We spoke until I started talking to him mid-March. I think it was actually the 13th of March. But in my head, I was like the 30th. So it was actually the 13th. So we started talking mid-March until end of April. So it was about 6 weeks that we're talking. And then we stopped talking because he got a girlfriend. So, And then April, the 1st of April, my good sis Tumelo left us. She did not die. She went to Canada. So we had a farewell meet up. Tejo came a couple days after that, so I hung out with Tejo. Went to Signal Hill. I went to Signal Hill for the first time with Tejo, and it was so beautiful. We're planning on going again in January to watch the sunset. One thing about me, I love sunset. That was basically April. I was still in school. The last Sunday of April, or something like that, my mom went to visit this one church that my cousin had been talking about for like a while, right? And she comes back and she's like, oh my gosh, like this church, blah, 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 blah. And one thing about me, I don't like change. Let me just put that out there. I hate change. And there's one church that I had grown up in, right? And then we had changed churches after COVID, right? And then now she wants us to change churches again. I'm like, I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm not doing it. But then she ended up going like throughout that week, right? So the first week of May, she ended up going every night, right? And then the first Sunday of May, she's like, oh, like you're coming with. I'm like, I'm not coming with. I don't know, but I'm not coming with. And I tried to find all the excuses. I was like, my stomach is hurting, which my stomach was like really hurting. I was like, my stomach is hurting. I'm like, it's 5 a.m. She literally woke me up at 5 a.m. to go to church, which is ironically, I wake up at 4:30 now to go to church. But on that day, she woke me up at 5 a.m. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going. I'm not going. And I tried, guys, like I really tried to not go. She was like, no, you're going. So I ended up going first Sunday. And what I did not know was that every first Sunday is anointing. The pastor starts anointing people. And I'm like, hold on, I did not sign up for this. I'm like, no, I'm not getting anointed. Sorry. Like, I'm down to watch. Like, it's kind of interesting. Like, it was very like for your first time being there, and also for not knowing what you're going to do there, like what the environment is like, it can really freak you out. That was me. I was like, I've never seen this before. I don't know what's going on. There was a pregnant woman that was like on her like on the like end of your pregnancy, and then the baby was like straight, and then he literally flipped the baby. Like, you saw the baby flip. And then the one girl was on crutches. She started walking. The one man, he cast out demons. He was literally talking to demons. I said, all in one Sunday. I said, sorry, I don't know what's going on. I did not sign up for this. So now it gets to like my role to be anointed. And everyone's getting up. They're going. They're used to this. And my mom goes, and I'm like, sorry, do you expect me to go? She's like, yeah, like, let's go. I'm like, no. I said no. Like, it was very dramatic. And eventually my cousin came, and she's like, let's just go. Like, I'm like, okay, fine. And there were like these old ladies that were sitting in the row in front of us, and I was crying. Yes, I'm dramatic. I was crying because I didn't want to go, so I was crying. And then the old ladies were like, no, don't cry, like, and they were giving me hugs, and I'm like, okay, this is turning into a very dramatic thing. Let me just go. Let me be a big girl. Let me just go. And then I got anointed. I never went back in May. I never went back in June, right? So in May and June, I never ever set foot in that church again. I continued on with school. So there are a couple of things that I didn't mention in the May, June, July season that I did. The first being hostessing for a event. The second being I danced for a couple of months. I went to a particular dance studio in town. And then after a few weeks, I stopped dancing for multiple reasons. But yeah, I feel like that chapter is now officially closed. And then I also attended my sister's induction into Rotaract. So she's the president of Rotaract. I also attended my friend's dad's, what do they call it? Inauguration event. So I'll just insert pictures from all of those things that I forgot to mention in this video. And yeah, I continued on. I saw Karen in June again. We went out in June, if I'm not mistaken. It was either June or July, but I feel like it was June. I went out with Karen. I continued living my life. I was like, it definitely, from that experience, it definitely like propelled me to pursue God more and to like, to just like read my Bible more. Like, from that experience at that church, it put me in a place where I was like willing to pursue God more, because I've before that I was very passive about my faith. Like, okay, yes, I'm Christian, but like I've never opened my Bible. Well, like, you know what I mean? Like, I've never bothered to read the Bible consistently. I've never bothered to pray consistently. But like from that moment, it kind of pushed me in a place where I was like, okay, I will, I'll try. Then July came. Now in July, at my church, at this church that freaked me out, it's my church. So when I say my church, I'm referring to that same church that freaked me out. We have conferences every month, and we also have prayer and fasting at the beginning of every month. So there was a conference in July, and my mom attended, right? So every night. And then I was like, out of curiosity, on the first day, I decided to watch online, right? Because the services are streamed online. So I decided to watch online, like out of boredom, right? And it was so good, like so good, to the point where I think it was load shedding around 10. and the power cut off while I was watching. Like, I completely forgot that it was load shedding. The power cut off, and I literally screamed. I was like, no, how could you do this to me? And I was just like, yeah. So from then on, I watched every single day of that conference, and then on the final day, I attended in person, which was a Saturday night. I attended in person, and that was the day I spoke in tongues for the first time. If you guys want a video on that, I can share with you guys. But yeah, so that was in July. Spoke in tongues for the first time. It was like a whole dramatic. There was a whole dramatic thing that happened like in the church, and then I kind of like was hit by the power, and I started speaking in tongues. So that was kind of a cool experience. And then that was July. And then I think July, I attended church in July. I remember I was anointed in July. I was anointed in August. I have a feeling I didn't attend every Sunday in July, but in August, I attended every single Sunday. Like from August up until now, I don't think I've missed a Sunday. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've missed a Sunday. So that was July. July, there was nothing much like in my personal life going on. August, what happened in August? There was another conference in August that I attended online and in person. Yes. So in August, I attended the conference online for the week, and then I went on the last day in person. And then August, September. Now, September was a bit of an interesting month. At this point, I've kind of like established my faith. Like at this point, I'm growing in the Lord. I'm growing spiritually. I'm growing in the Word. I'm growing like at this point, I'm like solidified. There's no half. There's no lukewarm. I'm like, I'm good. September comes, and at school, things are not going that well. I was kind of like this with my academics, and I neglected school. And then the school came around, and they were like, girl, you ain't met your requirements. And just in case you never watched my previous life update from 2022, I am in university on scholarship, right? So if you don't perform to a certain standard, you are booted. And I get this email on like the 21st of September or something, some day in September. And they're like, sorry, but ma'am, it's time to go. I said, sorry. I said, hello? I said, what do you mean? They were like, yeah, it's time to go. And I thought it was over. I thought like the scholarship is like done. Like I need to figure my life out. I don't know what I'm gonna do. What? This was the one thing I had going for me. And you're telling me that I'm out? I lost my head. But even in that time, I was like, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. And God came through. And he propelled me back. In October, I was then told that I could be readmitted, and I'm going to go back in Jan. So I'm really excited. So basically, I was just suspended for a bit. And I can go back in January, which is in 2 days. So yay. I'm really, really excited to go back and graduate, because I really want to graduate next year. But also at school, like no one is ever excited about school. Like, let's be serious. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But regardless, I'm grateful. Like that's not even a question. I'm grateful. And yeah, but that was September into October. And then yeah, since October, it's just been like growing in the Lord. Now that I've been off school in October, November, December, it's just been focusing on growing in the Lord, trying to figure out what I want to do with this YouTube channel. I don't know, just figuring my life out, like a lot of personal like stuff that I need to figure out, especially financially. When I first started really committing to God, I had this like crazy fear of like it being a phase. What if I obsess over Jesus this, Jesus that, Jesus this, Jesus that, and then a couple weeks later I'm just like, actually it wasn't for me. And I didn't want to do that. So in the beginning, that was like a very big obstacle that I had to you know. But now I'm like, I ain't going nowhere. Like, this is a forever thing. Me and you, forever. We locked in. We locked in for real. So yeah, I'm happy. This year was good. It was really, really good. It taught me a lot. For the first time in my life, I can be like, I relied upon the Lord and He was really my strength. I love that I've really like created. I think that's the biggest thing that's like blown my mind, because one thing about my mother, she has faith, and she's always had faith. Like that's one of the things that I've always loved about my mother. She has faith. And I remember growing up, I'd be like, when I grow up, I want to have that type of faith. And I would rely a lot on my mother's faith, on my mother's prayer, on my mother's, you know, like everything was like, if like my mother was my connection to God, if that makes sense. And like for the first time, I have my own connection with God. And yeah, I think it's kind of cool, man. Like it's really cool. And it's something I never thought I would achieve. I think that's why it blows my mind. Yo, I have something in my eye. Ugh. I think that's why it blows my mind a lot, because I genuinely never thought that I'd get to that point. I would be so jealous of people, especially people my age, who had a genuine relationship with God. Like, I'd be like, there were like a lot of people that I unfollowed on like Instagram because I was jealous of their relationship with God. Like, I'm being very real right now. I was like, I wish I could be like that. And it makes me so sad that I can't. Like, I felt like I couldn't in that time. And now I'm like, I want to follow all the young people that are following God. Like, let's, you know, this little community. Now I'm like, I can relate, you know, so it's nice. And yeah, I'm grateful to God for this year. It's been amazing. And I'm saying all this to say that it doesn't mean that I'm perfect. It doesn't mean that I've got it all figured out. I still have so much that God is working on. God is working in me and through me, and yeah, you know, God is still working on me. But the future is looking good. You know what I'm saying? The future is looking good. There's this song by Theophilus Sunday where he says, there's a prophecy over me. And I claim that one. There's a prophecy over me. I will not fail my Lord. Oh, hey. I will fulfill. What does it say? I will fulfill my. He says something like, I will fulfill my something. But yeah, there's a prophecy over me. So yeah, I cannot fail my Lord, and
I must fulfill.
we locked in for life. I feel like this video turned into my testimony, low-key, instead of how my year went. But 90% of my year was just God. Thank you to everybody that has watched this life update. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I